ever die.
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Looked like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Beyond the shadows.
Hello, friends. Hello. Let's see, which way do we need to face tonight? Yeah, I need to flip this right quick. Give me a moment, please. Transform. Oop, I always get that backward. We're gonna flip that again. Whoop, flip it one more time. There we go. Hello, friends. If you can't tell, it's just me tonight. Paul and Aeon are tied up with holiday happenings. So, you know, it is what it is. It happens. We have lives. We are human. But tonight, we were supposed to go over a UFO incident. Since it's just me tonight, we're going to do a UFO incident. I've got a little bit of some photo evidence and some video evidence. This ties in with our... Oh, geez, there was that UFO incident in Africa where the whole group of school kids saw a UFO land in the soccer field. This is similar to that, but this is going to be over in England, and this has another group of school kids had seen what happened. So we have some photo evidence, some stuff that the kids drew, some drawings that the kids drew to describe what they saw, and we also have video testimony. I think this was in the 70s. So I did the math earlier. It was like close to 50 years ago this year. So we're going to go over that. And I have a little Christmas update from, the tie-in from last week. So last week we talked about Krampus. We talked about the roots of Saint Nicholas, where he came from, and we also talked about, oh geez, what was the other thing we talked about? I can't even remember how to pronounce it. The group of I want to say Aboriginal, indigenous people that ate the mushrooms, and they think this is where part of the story of Santa Claus came from. We have one more, or rather, I have one more to share with you tonight on, what is this, Christmas Eve? So we've got, 3 days? Sunday now. So 3 days until Christmas. So I wanted to cap this weekend off with a little follow-up and another story, another folklore from Christmas to talk with you about. So, give me a second, because a lot of this, it's easy to do this part when there's all three of us, and when all three of us aren't here, you see my movements a lot more and what all I really do. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens going in front of me right now to make sure everything runs flawlessly. So usually Ann will take over with the witty banter when it's time for me to switch some things up or bring up some media or something like that. So you're going to catch a little bit extra of that tonight. I will say tonight we are interacting, or rather I am interacting with chat. So if you want to pop in and say anything, if you want to say hello, I'm actively watching chat. I will say hello. We can talk, ask questions about the podcast, or if you have anything paranormal you want to share, feel free to. Um, I will also say if you have. Hold on. I just noticed there's a freaking website at the bottom of this GIF that I'm using for background. We'll just snip that out. Whoop. Never again. Um, if you have anything paranormal that you want to share with us, feel free to. If you look at the bottom of the screen, just below me, scrolling is our social media information. Our Instagram's there, our Facebook is there, and the email account for the podcast is there. So if you have anything paranormal you want to share, feel free to email us. Let us know your story. If you've got something unique you want to share, or if you have a suggestion for an episode, feel free to. Also, if you think we're doing good, let us know. If you think we're doing bad, let us know. You know, this is not a monarchy. We don't rule the podcast world. On the contrary, we are little nobodies. We have little to no following, and we're still doing like single-digit views per episode, so it's fine. We've been going for half a year now, and have yet to get a single email. So, but you know what? Since I bring it up, how about I just check the email right quick? Let's see if we got anything in there. I really doubt we do. I really, really doubt we do. Probably just a bunch of spam. Yep, bunch of junk. 30 spam emails. Let's just delete those and get them out of there. How does T-Mobile get this freaking email address? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm just going to clean up these emails. Since I'm just sitting here, there's nobody really watching anyway. Oh, well, look at that. Well, we do have some notifications for some new followers on YouTube. I'm going to give a shout out to Kevin, the legendary Crow Carson. Thank you for subscribing on YouTube. Iris Collins, thank you for your subscription on YouTube. Sly Dot also subscribed on YouTube. Thank you so much. And Alicia Messenger, thank you for your YouTube subscription. Appreciate that. I will continue to shout people out as long as they continue to come in. Yeah, it's just a bunch of spam. Not a single email from a single interested listener. That's okay. That's the way it goes when you run a podcast with no following. But on the flip side, we've got beers tonight. So we are going to discuss, first and foremost, the legend of Hans Trapp. So Hans Trapp is a legendary figure rooted in folklore of Alsace and Lorraine regions of France. I'm probably just totally destroying those names because I do not know French. Known as the dark counterpart to Saint Nicholas, Hans Trapp is a sinister character often depicted in stories and celebrations as a warning to misbehaving children. His legend is a part of the region's Christmas traditions, similar to other dark holiday figures like Krampus. According to legend, Hans Trapp was a wealthy and greedy man who lived in the 15th century. He was infamous for his cruelty, arrogance, and dabbling in occult practices, which ultimately led to his excommunication by the church. After losing his wealth and power, he fled to the forest and became a hermit. We do have some generic Google images of Hans Trapp here. They call him the Christmas Scarecrow. I was hoping to find like some cool like older images, but you know, this is the best I can give you. This is an actual depiction from a children's book of Hans Trapp. You know, the title of this actually says Christmas Throughout Christendom, and the bottom says the Christ Child and Hans Trapp. So I'm assuming the lady with the birthday cake on her head is the Christ Child, and Hans Trapp is there climbing through the window. So they call him the Christmas Scarecrow, but I can't help but feel like there is some major similarities between Hans Trapp and Krampus. He looks very, very similar to Krampus. He's got, so it looks like he has just like a branch off of a tree. So he's wearing some kind of, oh no, I thought that was a hat. That's his hand on the window. He's definitely wearing a mask with devil horns, which is very similar to Krampus. But let's get into more about the person. So after losing his wealth and power, he fled to the forest and became a hermit. The tale takes a darker turn itself as Hans Trapp's descent into madness and depravity, allegedly. He takes a taste for human flesh and planned to eat children he had captured. Before he could carry out his gruesome act, however, he was struck down by a bolt of lightning, seen as divine punishment. Hans Trapp in modern folklore is associated with Christmas as a punitive figure who accompanies St. Nicholas during the holiday season. White St. Nicholas rewards good children with gifts and treats. Hans Trapp is said to punish the naughty ones. He is often described as a terrifying figure dressed in ragged clothes, sometimes resembling a scarecrow, and carrying a bundle of sticks or a sack to frighten or capture disobedient children. Okay, so the similarities, the parallels between Hans Trapp and Krampus are blatant. It almost feels like the story of Krampus made its way into France at some point in time or another, and over time it evolved. I could see how a hooded, cloaked figure carrying a bundle of sticks to beat children with, carrying a sack, could be changed to a masked figure carrying a stick and a sack. Over time, I wonder what Hans Trapp, how you pronounce Hans Trapp in French. It's weird because it's like a German name. German-ish name. Let's see, let me look it up. Google Translate. Oh. Okay, interestingly, I just typed in Hans Trapp into Google Translate. It automatically translated it from Swedish. It literally translates to his loss. But let's see what it sounds like in French.
Sa perte. Sa perte.
Okay, so that doesn't sound anything like Krampus. So what does Krampus sound like in French? Oh, well, it's just Krampus. Okay, well. So, Hans Trapp serves as a moral lesson to children about the consequences of greed, arrogance, and wicked behavior. His role in Christmas traditions reflects a broader European custom of pairing benevolent gift-giving figures with darker enforcers of discipline. Although his story is less well known outside of this French region, Hans Trapp remains an enduring part of the area's cultural heritage, blending medieval fears with holiday traditions. So there you go. Hans Trapp, everybody. Hans freaking Trapp. You know what? I'll give myself a little round of applause on that one. Hans Trapp. Hans Trapp. And there you go, everybody. Hans Trapp, everyone. There you go. See, we can have fun by ourselves. So, let's look. Let's see what we got going on. We got one viewer in there. Hello, chat. What's going on? Welcome to the podcast. Oh, I didn't do our normal intro. How's everybody going? My name is Victus, and this is Beyond the Shadows podcast. This is your weekly paranormal podcast where we discuss all things paranormal and paranormal related. that don't put your blinders on immediately and think just because we're talking about paranormal that we're only going to talk about UFOs or ghosts. We talk about everything: government conspiracies, alien abductions, ghosts, folklores. Um, and then at the end of the month, we even do what we call the rapid fire episode, which seems to be a crowd favorite. So what we do is we pull videos from social media and we just watch social media videos that are related to this genre. And we talk about whether we think they're real or not. We have good fun with it. We shrink the screen down big time. So kind of like what you're seeing here, uh, except instead of there being one person talking, there's two people. Well, there'll be three of us. Aeon and Paul are not here this week. They are taking off tonight for the holidays. So, that being said, we're going to move forward with our episode. And you know what? We're going to drink a little bit of this beer. That's beer. All right. So, close this out of here. Let's find Broadhaven UFO incident. Let's pull up some images. We're going to leave these things up here while we're talking about it. So, here is your group of children. Let's get into the nitty gritty. This is going to be a good one. I actually remember reading this in a book as a child. And when we would go outside for recess, I would just sit outside and stare up at the sky, just waiting. Because there was, I remember in my library in my elementary school, we had elementary school. Yeah, this will tell you how long ago this was. There was one little tiny section of this shelf in my library at the school that was occult, or they called it something different. I forget what it was, but it wasn't occult. It was the paranormal section, and this was one of the only books on UFOs. And it was this huge book. It was like this big, just about this UFO incident. But so this, I think this was probably my first real foray into not necessarily the paranormal, but into UFOs and aliens. This, because I'd seen movies. Sure, everybody had seen movies growing up about aliens, UFOs, or they played video games or something. This was the first thing that really kind of brought it home for me, made it close. Like, it made it feel like it could happen to anybody, because it was just like a group of school kids minding their own business, and they saw a UFO. So it made me feel like it could really happen, that it wasn't just some Hollywood production or some video game. This is the first thing that really made it feel real. So, let's see. Oh, we do have a... Oh, wait, we have a sound effect just for the alien stuff. Here, oh yeah.
Aliens.
Aliens.
Ancient astronaut theorists propose.
Yeah, get ready for that one. So without further ado, we're going to get into what is known as 1977's Broadhaven UFO incident.
Aliens.
So this one's really interesting. This one goes to my roots. This was the first one that really connected with me. So I'm kind of passionate about this one. So the story starts in 1977 in the small village of Broadhaven, located in Pembrokeshire, Wales. Let's go ahead and pull that up. Let's see where that is. I love pulling up Google Maps and looking, because sometimes when you look for these things, you will find markers on Google Maps. So let's see, Broadhaven. Let's just type in Broadhaven UFO and see what happens. Oh. Okay, so there's Broadhaven. Are we in England here? Yes. Okay, so there's Broadhaven. Broadhaven Playground. Is this where it happened? Okay, yeah. This is why I pull these up, because sometimes you will see there'll be markers. People will tag places, and it's also good for discerning whether or not this is actual legitimate legitimate experience or not. Because what do we like to do is we'll look at something and see, the first thing we like to ask is who's making money off of this, and it's usually a good decider if whether or not somebody is profiting, whether or not this is real, or if it's like a local what's the word I'm looking for, a local attraction to make people come to the area. Okay, so this town is small, maybe 100 houses. Yeah. So I don't see anything like I don't see anything that says like a UFO in or anything like that. So it makes me think, what is that? It makes me think that we might have something good on our hands here. Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, let's Broadhaven Playground. I wonder if that's where the kids had seen it at. All right, we'll get back into this here in a little bit. We'll look and see. So, the story starts in 1977 in the small village of Broadhaven, located in Pembrokeshire, Wales, often referred to as the Broadhaven Triangle. The series of sightings during the period involved reports of strange craft, unusual beings, and mysterious phenomena. And what we have here from this point forward is my investigation and the findings. And so we're going to go through with this and see what we can discern about this incident. Okay, so the Broadhaven saga began on February 4th of 1977 when a group of children from Broadhaven Primary School reported seeing a silver cigar-shaped object in a field near their school. So let's go back to maps just for a second. Let's see if we can find that school. So there's a playground. Where is the school? I don't see a school anywhere here. What are we calling it? What is it called? The Broadhaven Primary School. Oh, here we go. There it is. Okay, so this is likely where it happened, right here. A little soccer field. Okay, so this is promising. This is good. This is good. We're going to start here. We're going to move forward. Witnesses described a shiny metallic object with a dome on top. Some children claim they saw unusual humanoid figures near the object, dressed in silver suits. Eyewitnesses' accounts were the total of 14 children who gave consistent accounts of the sighting. Their teacher, initially skeptical, had the children independently sketch what they had seen, resulting in remarkably similar drawings. The initial report sparked a wave of interest in further sightings by local residents in the weeks and months that followed. So, let's pull up some of these pictures. Look at here. these are some of the drawings that kids made. Okay, so this one feels like the pink one feels like it was made by a teacher, honestly. But let's look at, yeah, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. So this is definitely drawn by one of the kids. Okay, so those of you listening and not watching the video, what I'm looking at here is a page that is cut into 4 pieces, and each quarter of the page has a different drawing on it. The first in the top left is probably made by the teachers. It looks a little too good to be done by children in primary school, but the rest of them are clearly drawn by children. So we'll go clockwise. In the top right, we've got one that's drawn in crayon. We got we're going to split the page in half. Top half is yellow for some reason. Bottom half is green for grass. And what we have is what you would expect a saucer-shaped object to look like. So it's a long, stretched-out cylinder with a dome on top. But this is landed, and it's sitting in the grass. So we got 2, like elephant's feet sticking out of the bottom that are supporting the UFO in the grass. And there's what appears to be an alien standing in front, or I use the word alien, some type of extraterrestrial standing in front of the UFO. And it's humanoid, like from the shoulders down, looks humanoid. Feet are a little big, but you know, it's a kid's drawing, so it's probably way out of proportion. But I will say it's strange. A strange description is, you know, it shows 2 dots for the eyes, 1 dot for a nose, and a line for the mouth. But it looks like the child had drawn this to show that the alien had pointy ears, like almost like I don't know, like a character out of an anime with huge, you know, like you would get female characters with cat ears, kind of that thing. But everything is gray, so the UFO is gray, and the extraterrestrial is gray. But strangely enough, there's also what looks like a satellite dish sticking out of the top of this. So this makes me wonder, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate. When did the first Star Wars movie come out? May of 1977. And this was February of 1977. Oh, let's look in England. December of 1977. Okay. So I was going to suggest that this looks strangely like the Millennium Falcon. Especially the satellite dish. So we all know that the Millennium Falcon's got a big satellite dish on top. And this drawing has what I think is a satellite dish on top. You know, I can see the similarities. Maybe I'm just grasping at straws. It's fine. You know, it is what it is. That's me and my conspiracy theory hat. This is why I don't do this alone, because you're going to get the one side of the story. So, moving forward, the next picture in line is a much better drawing. I don't know how old these kids are. We were moving clockwise. Okay, so this next one is 2 drawings. Just about what you'd expect a flying saucer to look like. You know, it's silver, flat on the bottom, half dome shaped on top, and then on top of that half dome shape is a smaller dome, which we're assuming is like the window section. This one shows like a little light on top, and you know, the child had drawn 3 lines to show that it's shining. And this one is also accompanied by a drawing of what the extraterrestrial looked like. So it has no face, a round head, pointy ears like an elf, a silver pointy hat like an elf, and then he's got a turtleneck on, long sleeve shirt, long pants, black shoes, all silver, but no face, which is really kind of strange. So it seems more elf-like than it does extraterrestrial-like. So, continuing clockwise, we got our last drawing from the children is the good one. This is the UFO that is laying in the grass. This one differs from the original, or from the first one, because it does not have feet, but it is the same, almost exactly the same as the previous drawing. You know, the half dome with another dome on top, and this one clearly has a row of windows, clearly has a light on top, and this one again has lights or lines coming off of the light to show that it's illuminated. And this one also has an antenna, but this one's laying flat on the ground. It's not resting on feet. So between these three illustrations from children, they are similar. They are all very similar to one another. But, you know, this last one is probably the best one. Very clear, concise lines. You could tell the child really knew for sure what he was drawing. Yeah, it's very good. You know, the trees are drawn very well. There's grass. It's a mud for some reason, but okay, cool. So, that's when we come to this picture. This is the an illustration out of a newspaper from BBC Productions. I can't quite read what this thing says. It's such a low resolution photograph. UFOs are becoming inevitable. Even the President of the United States admits having seen one. Alan Rode hasn't, but he has been talking to people such as these school children who are sure that they have. And the headline reads Saucery in the West Wales. So this is a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 children that had seen this UFO, and they saw it clear enough that they were able to draw an illustration to show what they had seen. Again, let me play devil's advocate. Let's look at, so like this one down here, bottom right. Nope, it's not that one. I thought for sure that was it. This is the only one that's bisected by green. So it makes me wonder if these two didn't belong. Interesting. We'll get back to this later. This is a very interesting point to bring up. Well, thank you, Victus. You're welcome, Victus. So there's 15 kids in this picture, but the research said 14, which is also strange. Which I guess over time, it's been almost 50 years. Sure, maybe somebody, I don't know. I could see it being somebody had gotten scared or something and decided they wanted to recant what they said, so the official number changed. It's fine. It is what it is.
Aliens.
So, moving forward, Following the school children's sightings, other locals began reporting strange phenomena. Several residents observed strange lights in the sky, often described as bright and erratic. In some cases, witnesses reported seeing multiple objects moving in formation. Encounters with beings. One family claimed to have seen a figure in a silver suit peering into their farmhouse window. Another report described a similar figure near a local oil refinery. Now, was there an oil refinery in this? Do you see an oil refinery somewhere? It seems like a weird thing to have in such a small town. I don't see an oil refinery, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there in 1977. So, it is what it is. Some of the physical evidence. Residents found unusual burn marks and depressions in fields where UFOs were reportedly seen. These sightings were concentrated in a triangular area around Broadhaven, leading to the Broadhaven Triangle moniker. I wonder if we look for Broadhaven Triangle in Google Maps. No, let's just Google it. Let's see what happens. If we could find an image of the delineations. Here we go. Wow, horrible. All right. That's stretched way out. So that's going from here up to here, down to here. Oh my lord. I don't know if I would call that the Broadhaven Triangle. I would more call that the Wales Triangle. Because Broadhaven is just a tiny little piece of that. In retrospect, Broadhaven is probably the smallest part of the triangle. But whatever. It's all good. Moving forward. The Broadhaven UFO incident drew significant attention from local authorities, media, and UFO researchers. Several investigations were conducted with varying conclusions. A local investigation by Dyfed Powys police. I don't know what Dyfed Powys. Maybe it's the name of the police station. Looked into the reports but found no concrete evidence to substantiate the claims. Officers noted the sincerity of witnesses but could not verify their accounts. The Ministry of Defense even looked into this, and they received multiple reports about the incident but maintained that the sightings possessed no threat to national security. UFO researcher Nick Pope later revealed that MOD, the Ministry of Defense, took the reports seriously but dismissed them as misidentifications of conventional aircraft or natural phenomena. Swamp gas, everybody. Do you think it was swamp gas? Because I don't.
Aliens. Ancient astronaut theorists propose.
Yeah. On to the fun part. UFO researchers visited Broadhaven and documented witness testimonies. Some ufologists believe
Ancient astronaut theorists propose.
The sightings were evidence of extraterrestrial activity, citing the consistency of the accounts and the descriptions of the humanoid beings. A few independent scientists examined the physical evidence, including the burn marks and soil depressions, but could not determine their origin conclusively. Some suggested natural causes such as lightning strikes or meteor impacts, but these explanations were met with skepticism by the witnesses. So, that brings us to the witnesses. We know that 15 children saw this from this research, from these newspaper articles. even the Ministry of Defense was involved, which means it went to police. Police couldn't figure it out, and the police took it to the government, and the government couldn't figure it out. So at least their government is kind of admitting that they had looked into it. They're not really saying anything happened, but submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I have in my hot little hands the video testimony of some of these children from 1977. Okay, so this is a clip. Let's see if we can find out who shared this originally. I think it was originally BBC had reported on this, but it came down to, somebody down the line eventually saved this video, and we are thankful for them, very thankful, because this is the only video of the testimony that remains. There is some newer videos floating around that shows these children as adults reacting to their original statements. I have not seen them. I think there's a reaction at the end of this video. So I want to give a tiny shout out to, what's this channel? This is Eyes on Cinema on YouTube. 191,000 subscribers. Way to go. You're doing better than us. We'll give you a like. Here you go. Thank you for your contribution to society. Here we go. We're going to watch this. These are the video testimonies of the school children from the school in Broadhaven in 1977. Here we go.
My friend Philippa was trying to find a way over the stream, and I was looking at the bushes up the top of the trees, and then suddenly this silver cigar-shaped object seemed to pop up from behind the bushes and trying to take off. Then it disappeared again.
Well, I saw the spaceship. I didn't see the man. The spaceship, it looked a cigar shape with a dome on it. And it had a yellowy, orange to red light on the top of it.
How clearly did you see it?
Well, I couldn't see its face because it was too far away.
Oh, you say you saw a man as well, did you?
Yes.
And what about him?
Well, he was too far away to be seen as well.
Are you sure it wasn't perhaps just a helicopter or an aircraft from the airfield near here?
A helicopter could land there, but that's private property over there. And if they landed there, they could be prosecuted. And with an aircraft, the only thing they could get in there was a Harrier.
Were you frightened at the time?
Yes.
Why?
I thought there would be a whole army inside there or something.
I know that 16 children saw it.
And did they all see the same thing, do you think?
There's a common core of similarity between all their descriptions. I got them to draw and to write what they saw.
Okay, so this is one of the drawings. This is one that we looked at earlier. Oh, my microphone is really loud right now. Sorry, I turned it up so you could hear more clearly. Hold, please. Turn my mic down. Okay, so this is one we haven't seen before. So now we've got some names. Michael Webb. So it looks like somebody redrew the drawings. Unfortunately, fence field, fence stream. Let's go back to Google Maps. Let's see if we can find it. Where was yes, this was the school. So where's the stream? We have a pond. So if they were here, the only place it could have been would have been over here, maybe. Because I don't see a stream or another body of water anywhere. This must have been where it landed. Oh, wait. No, I was wrong. Look here. Here's the school. My bad. Yeah, so... they're calling this a pond. I'm sure there's a stream of some kind here. Like, I'm not seeing any other water. Doesn't mean it wasn't there before. I'm gonna say it was north. They came that it maybe it landed over here somewhere. It comes down to development. What the development looked like back then. It's hard to say. So some of these illustrations are really hard to make sense of. I am seeing a consistency with the description of the head, with the small eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the pointy ears. It's very interesting. We're going to turn this audio back up, and we're going to go ahead and look or watch the rest of this video. Wonderful evidence.
I'm absolutely sure of what I saw that day. I saw an object that was large, cigar-shaped, silver. After 30 years, I'm no nearer the understanding than I was on the day that I saw it. But I am 100% sure that what I saw that day is as we reported it.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Excellent testimony. Way to go, children. Good job. Good job. Some really cool, we got newspaper clippings back there. They had pointed ears, and the ship was silvery. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, I'm gonna say... Oh! Riveriana! Hey, how's it going? Welcome in. Sorry, I just missed you there. Hello. Welcome in. We're discussing the Broadhaven UFO incident tonight. We had just finished watching first-hand testimony from children from 1977 who saw this UFO land by their school. But what I was going to say was similar to that video that we reviewed for the incident in Africa. These children do not look like they're... Okay, so these are young children. So when kids are playing a game or they're trying to be untruthful, they cannot contain themselves. You know what I mean? So they're going to be like fidgety and kind of trying to be deceitful. And these kids do not look like they're trying to be deceitful at all. These kids, on the flip side of that, these kids actually look like they had seen some stuff. Like, they do not look like happy children. They actually look probably very disturbed by what happened. Hey, Rihanna. Yeah, I'm over here on the Eastern Shore in the United States. I have two co-hosts, and they are in central United States, but they are not here tonight. They are off for the holidays. But yeah, this is very similar to the UFO incident in Africa, where the whole, it was like a group of like 40 children had seen the UFO. These kids they just look like they'd seen something. Like, at no point do they seem like, even the kids in the background. This is what we analyzed in the last video. We would look at the kids in the background and see if they are trying to hide smiles or if they're trying to keep from laughing. The only one that ever really feels like he's trying to laugh is this kid, but he seems to be the older one, and that he, you know, I can remember being at that age and wanting to be, to kind of laugh off something traumatic that happened to me, and it seems like what he was doing here. I believe the question he gets asked is if he was scared, and that's when he laughs. But of course, it's a quick deflector. It's what he was doing. He was deflecting. How long have I been streaming? I've been streaming. This podcast has been streaming for 6 months now, but I've been streaming for close to 6 years. 6 years, 7 years, something like that. I'm not exactly sure. 20. I don't remember what year I started. I really don't. It all kind of blurs together. I did do some video game streaming for a while and gave that up, and then I streamed some painting for a while and I gave that up, and this podcast is the new thing, and just continue to stream on the same platform and keep the viewership. So content changes, but the streaming remains the same. So moving forward with the research, some of the theories behind the UFO case, the Broadhaven incident has attracted a variety of theories to explain the phenomena. Extraterrestrial hypotheses are that the proponents argue that the detailed descriptions of the craft and beings, along with the physical evidence, suggest the visitation by extraterrestrial entities. Rihanna, no, I don't play games on the stream anymore. This is it anymore. I'm getting too old to be playing video games on stream. So this is it now. This is all the streaming I get. And those of you listening on Spotify at a later time, I am interacting with chat right now. So try not to be super confused about what's going on. Because those of you listening on Spotify, we do stream this live every Sunday on Twitch, and it later gets uploaded to YouTube and Spotify. So if you want to catch the episodes live, you're welcome to come and join us. If you look for us on Twitch, we are Beyond the Shadows Podcast on Twitch. You can find our schedule there, and it'll tell you what time we stream live every Sunday. So some of the other hypotheses are military activity. Some researchers suggest the sightings were linked to secret military operations or experimental aircraft, possibly involving nearby RAF bases. RAF is Royal Air Force. Unusual sightings near the oil refinery have fueled speculation about covert surveillance or testing. Some of the other hypotheses are hoaxes and misinterpretations. Skeptics argue that the sightings could have been explained by pranks, misidentified aircraft, or natural phenomena such as meteors or weather balloons. Well, let's be honest, that's a cookie-cutter explanation. This is what they want you to feel like you think you saw, because they don't want us to know the truth that we're really being visited. So we know that local police was involved. We know that local government was involved. We even know that the Royal Air Force was involved. And the first real explanation we were given was that they were pranks, misidentified aircraft, or natural phenomena such as meteor or weather balloons. Let me put on my conspiracy theorist hat. In the United States, when the government tells us about UFO sightings or extraterrestrial sightings, it almost always has to do with weather balloons, swamp gases, experimental craft. And that's just, they're like blanket statements from the government every single time. And I feel like this is like something that they would tell us like they would tell the media to say, like, here's a script of what we want you to say. So like maybe the RAF, the British government, what have you, Ministry of Defense reached out to the United States, and their government, or our government, told them, sure, yeah, this is what we tell our people to keep them satiated, and this is how we keep them from asking too many questions. And it feels like they just took the cookie cutter comment, gave it to the British, and the British used it on the British people. All I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Aliens.
So the last one we're going to talk about is mass hysteria, and this is another one that comes up with the United States government as well. Psychologists have posited that the intense media coverage and community discussions may have amplified or distorted eyewitness accounts, creating a form of collective delusion, aka mass hysteria. This is another one that they love to use. So what they mean by mass hysteria is that one person maybe saw something and it triggers the next person, which triggers the next person, which triggers the next person. Next thing you know, you get a group of 15 kids that experience the same thing, but in reality, they're just feeding off of the hysteria from one of the people. So this happens. We know that this happens. There was, think about it, back in medieval times, there was the dancing plague. And I feel like some of that maybe had to do with mass hysteria, because we were dealing with, maybe 2 or 3 people had caught a hold of that. What was that? It was if Ayan was here, he could tell me. The fungus that grew on bread that made everybody hallucinate. So maybe there was 2 or 3 people that were really hallucinating, but in the end, it really came down to 2 or 3 people hallucinating, but the rest of them were triggered and mass hysteria happened. I could see that being the case there. So the Broadhaven UFO incident remains one of the most famous cases in British UFO lore. Its cultural and historical significance includes media coverage. The story garnered widespread media attention at the time and has since been featured in numerous documentaries, books, and articles. The incident has become part of Broadhaven's identity, drawing UFO enthusiasts and tourists to the area. Decades later, researchers and enthusiasts continue to revisit the case, re-interviewing surviving witnesses and examining newly uncovered evidence. The Broadhaven sightings have inspired fictional stories, films, art, further embedding the incident in the collective imagination. Which brings us to our conclusion about the case. The Broadhaven UFO incident is a captivating and enigmatic event that continues to intrigue both believers and skeptics. With no definitive explanation has been found, the sincerity of the witnesses and the enduring mystery make it a cornerstone of British UFO history. Whether interpreted as evidence or extraterrestrial visitation, military secrecy, or human imagination, the Broadhaven case underscores humanity's fascination with the unknown and our quest for answers to the mysteries of the universe. Its legacy is not just in the reports of strange craft and beings, but in the questions it raises about the nature of reality and the limits of human understanding. The Broadhaven UFO incident remains the topic of active discussion today, ensuring its place in the annals of unexplained phenomena for years to come. So, that being said, we're going to recap, and with the recap, we are going to talk about what we think really happened here. So, the first incident happened with kids, 15 school kids, 15, 14, 16. We've heard 3 different numbers tonight. The school kids saw it first, and they followed suit with the kids down in Africa that did the same thing. So, the kids in Africa saw something. They told their teacher, who told the headmaster of their school, and did the same thing. What he did was, he took the students that saw something and he isolated them. And he put each one in a room and he said, okay, I want you to draw what you saw. And each one of those kids went and drew something. Now, when the drawings came out, the similarities is what makes this story believable. So let's flip over to the pictures that they drew. Look at these. So these UFOs were made by children in separate rooms, isolated from one another, and yet the similarities became glaring and blatant. So we're going to give a point to truth on this one. This was done really, really well, and the headmaster of the school did a really excellent job doing his due diligence. And you know, if you think back to the video that we watched, there was a phone interview with the headmaster of the school, and he said precisely, the kids say they saw something, so we split them all up and we asked them to sit down and draw what they saw, and this is what they did. So that being said, second point of contention, well, we're going to talk about the looks on these kids' faces. So these kids do not look like a group of kids that are trying to hide something. I know when I was a kid and I was trying to be deceitful and I was trying to hide something from my parents, I had a hard time keeping a straight face. And when you're in this group setting with other children who actively know that you're lying, the energy gets passed around, right? All right, so think about it. We got a group of children. So let's do two theories here. But first, let me get another drink. So we've got two theories here. So theory number one, the kids lied. This is all made up by the kids. So if the kids made it up and they got together and they said, hey, let's make up this fantastic lie about what we saw, what you're going to have is a bunch of nervous energy between these kids. And what's going to happen is you might get one or two with composure, but what we try to look for is people not directly in the camera sight, but the kids in the background. We're going to look at the kids in the background to see what they're doing. And when it comes to this video specifically, and also the case we covered in Africa about the UFO incident down there where the 40-something school children saw what they saw, we looked at the whole video. We we muted it and we looked at it. If these kids were lying, maybe one or two of them are going to hold their composure, but there's going to be one or two of these kids in the background that are going to want to crack. They're going to break. And you're going to see them back there trying to hide their face. Or you're going to see them, trying to laugh or look at their other friends and see what their reaction is. Because these are kids. At this age, they don't know how to act. So what they're going to do is they're going to look at their friends for social cues. So the kid that doesn't know how to hide the fact that he's lying is going to look at his friend, see how he's reacting, and copy that reaction. So if you look here, these kids in the background are not looking at one another for answers. They are, in fact, they're looking down, which tells me from their body language that they saw something that they're very, very unsure about. So the body language of these children does not tell me that they had seen something or they had made up seeing something just to get some attention. What it tells me is that these kids actually saw something, which is the other side of the theory here. So if you have children who had seen something otherworldly, i.e. a UFO, what you're going to find is these kids it's almost like a state of shock, right? You with me? Where they're unsure how to react. They know their friends are unsure how to react. Look at okay, so we know that the faces of the kids that they're interviewing are going to be normal. This is a normal face. You can tell he's struggling to kind of put words together to articulate what he wants to say. Right? He's struggling to make sense of what he saw. But look at the kids in the background. These kids are not happy. These kids are not looking to each other for social cues. In fact, they're very withdrawn. This kid here looks troubled. I ain't gonna lie. This kid looks like he's got a weekend job and he's not happy about it because it's Friday. Well, that's what I'm seeing. And I'm thinking that these kids had actually seen this UFO. That's what I'm getting. That these kids actually saw this UFO and that they are trying to articulate what they saw. That's all I'm seeing. Hold please. Your call is important to us. Computer's acting up. Oop, there we go. Computer wasn't acting up. I just banned somebody. I hate that when they do the, they try to spam you while you're trying to stream. Come on. Ooh, yeah, bitrate dropped. Sorry about that, friends. I had opened another window and I pulled up my stream. I don't usually do that while I'm streaming. Quality should be coming up now. I am sorry about that. Sorry about that obnoxious person in chat. I hate when people try to sell you stuff in chat while you're streaming. It's just a real pain. Anyway, these kids look like they had actually seen something. The only thing I could say to describe the look on their face is troubled. These kids are troubled. And you get to think, this is back in 1977. All right. So we had the UFO incident from, oh geez, let me pull it up right quick. Let me find out exactly when this other UFO incident was. Geez, this was early on. I think this was like our second or third episode. This was the aerial school incident. This was episode 7. Season 1, episode 7. This was in 1994. So, in the video from 94, the kids some of them were, the child that was directly being interviewed was a little giddy. But of course, these were kids from the 90s. So these were kids my age. Back in 94 anyway. And they are naturally going to be kind of giddy around a camera because that's just the way things were back in the 90s. We were kids of the TV generation. All right, so these kids, this is the 70s, being interviewed for news was kind of a rare thing, I would imagine. And I don't think these kids had much understanding about what they were really doing. So the giddiness of being in front of the camera is not there. And I think there's one kid here that smiles, but I think it's because he knows that he's on camera and he is excited about it. I think it's this kid right here. And soon after he does the smile thing, it just fades right away. Yeah, right there, that's as close as a smile as you get. So I'm seeing the reactions from these kids who are going to give you unfiltered responses to questions. And these reactions are telling me that what they saw. That they know that they saw what they saw. And they did their best to show that they had seen it. And that's why I think this is a true case of UFO experience. Now, I can't speak on whether or not the other locations near Broadhaven had seen anything, because for some reason that just doesn't come up in any of the research. We couldn't get a solid interview. We couldn't get a statement from anything else that happened in the Broadhaven Triangle, if that's what you want to call it. And with that being said, it's really difficult to go on and say, yeah, that the Broadhaven case was true. These other two are supposedly connected, but we can't be for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the Broadhaven UFO incident is real. I can't speak on the other two that create the Broadhaven Triangle, but I can say, with the evidence provided today, that these kids saw a UFO. I don't know if they had seen an extraterrestrial, because there was not a lot of testimony concerning the extraterrestrials. However, there was lots and lots of consistent evidence from the children to say that they had seen a UFO. So I'm going to say this really happened. We're going to call that a win. That's a win. We're going to call it a win. And I'm certain if Aeon and Paul were here tonight, that they would probably agree with me, because I do believe that we said that the aerial school UFO incident was the legitimate case of UFO encounter. So I feel like this is so much in the same vein of the aerial school incident that they would agree with me that this was a true case of alien phenomena. Or not alien phenomena, but UFO phenomena. Now, admittedly, there's not a lot of evidence. So the aerial school incident, I can stop calling it the Africa school kids incident. But the aerial school incident, if you want to go back, listen to it, that's episode 7. The similarities between that story and this one are very glaring. And now that I know that this happened before the aerial school incident, it almost makes you wonder if they didn't pull details from this. Maybe the kids had pulled details from this and used it in their stories. Or maybe like the headmaster came up with the idea. It's something we're going to have to touch on another time, because it's a gray area. It's hard to say exactly, what happened. That was the 20-year gap between this incident and the aerial school incident. So really difficult to say. But I'm going to, keep my conspiracy theorist hat on and say that there are some similarities between this incident and the area school incident that makes me feel like there could have been some cross-contamination. That's the word I'm looking for here. So, with that, I guess we're going to wrap it up. Other than our person coming in and screwing with chat and trying to get us to buy something. It looks like they wanted to, it looks like they wanted me to buy, or get them to make emotes and stuff for me. Joke's on you, person spamming chat. I am an artist and I can make them myself. So, with that being said, next weekend we should have full squad here next weekend, and we're gonna do rapid fire next week. And for those of you who don't know what rapid fire is where we pull videos from social media concerning the paranormal, and we go through like 20 or 30 of them, and we will watch them live on stream, and we will discuss them. And for those of you listening at home, listening on Spotify or YouTube, or watching this later on Spotify or YouTube, because video is on Spotify now, everybody. If you want to catch us live, we are live every Sunday evening. We start streaming at 5 p.m. my time, 6 p.m. my time. No, 5 p.m. And we run until the subject is done. But if you go to Twitch, twitch.tv/Beyond the Shadows Podcast. I think it's all together. Yeah, it's all smashed together, one word, Beyond the Shadows Podcast. If you look on twitch.tv, Beyond the Shadows Podcast, you will see we have a schedule up. And the great thing about Twitch is it will adjust the time on the schedule to show you in local time. So if you want to catch it and you're in a different time zone than I am, it will tell you what time to come and watch. So that is helpful. Feel free to reach out to us if anybody out there listening or viewing today has an interesting paranormal story or just something small they want to share. It doesn't matter how small, how large, let us know. You can email us at beyondtheshadowspodcast@gmail.com. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see our social media information scrolling across the bottom. You can also catch all this information in the description of the show. Further down below, let me make sure. I see our YouTube, but I don't see your email down here on Twitch. But yeah, I know if you go to YouTube, you will definitely find our email there. So if you have an interesting paranormal story or you want to make a comment about the show, please feel free to email us. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere that you stream, you can find us, I'm pretty sure. These episodes are uploaded 24 hours later. So what you're seeing live tonight will be on Spotify and YouTube in about a day. With that being said, this is usually where I throw it to Aeon to see what he has for closing statements. This goes a lot faster when I don't have anybody for witty banter. So let me do my best to give a closing statement like Aeon does. So, as children, we see some amazing things. But as children, we can never decide if these things are real or not. And later on in life, we reflect back and we look at these things and we just try to discern whether or not what we've seen was a childhood fancy or something truly paranormal. Now, this happens all over the world, all the way from England, South Africa, United States, everywhere. Children see these things. They're everywhere. And looking at this kid's face right here, it weighs heavy. I know it does. Seeing something paranormal will weigh heavy on your mind. And just know that you're not alone. You're in a safe space here. Because now that you're an adult, you start looking for answers. And while you're looking, you're searching in places you've never searched before. You're flipping over rocks and asking questions you never thought to ask before. And now in the back of your mind, you're starting to wonder, did it really happen? It did. But the one place you did not think to look is beyond the shadows. Good night.
A creature like that, how would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Looked like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Beyond the shadows.